The world has a clear imbalance to it, and people get away with things all the time that they shouldn't be able to. But every once in a while, something really fair happens. Yeah, I mean, something happens that's so fair that you're like, even though a person took it into their own hands to make it happen, you're like, you know what? This makes up for a little bit. Like, I'll give you an example. Okay, so my buddy is a wedding photographer. He's been a wedding photographer for like 17 or 18 years, maybe even 20. And so he's done weddings, you know, for most of his adult life. He got in photography as a kid, and now that's like his prime means of income. And so he was doing this wedding, and everything's going good. Everybody dancing, having a good time, you know, like get that slide. You know, the toast, everybody's toasting, you know, I've always loved you. Good conversation, eating good food. And one of the bridesmaids walked up to him at some point in the wedding and was asking him questions because she was getting into photography. And she even thought, I might photograph weddings one day. Maybe that'll be how I make money. And so he was giving her, you know, sort of like lowdown on how he does it and how he expects there to be like a wedding season. That'll be where he makes the bulk of his money, and then he'll have to save up money. The conversation lasted about like 4 minutes, right? But then she walks off, and then the groom walks up, and the groom walks up and says to him, look, you are here to take pictures. Okay? I don't want to see you talking to the guests or anything. Because while you're talking, you could be snapping, so snap, snap. All right? And so then this dude, you know, goes ahead like a professional, finishes all the pictures and everything, and they get their pictures 2 weeks later, which was the agreement, and the bride looks beautiful. The groom, everybody was dancing, but somehow he caught the groom just... Everybody was eating. It was only with the groom that was like... Everybody was toasted. It was only the groom that was like... So obviously this dude called him back, furious. He was like, what's wrong with you? I thought you were a good photographer. Are you out of your mind? Why are you taking pictures like this and sending them? My wife looks beautiful. You made me look terrible. And he was like, oh, I just wanted everybody to see what you were like on the inside, you know, from the... And so when I saw those Vanity Fair pictures... I was so genuinely taken aback. So in case you haven't seen them, wow, spectacular. Jeez. In case you have not seen these Vanity Fair pictures, they are so fundamentally wild. Okay, so Susie Wiles did an interview with Vanity Fair, but they did like a whole profile of Trump's cabinet, did all these pictures of Trump's cabinet, right? And the photographer, Christopher Anderson, was taking the pictures, and he's known for taking pictures that are sort of like out of the box in general, you know? Like, you do know what you're getting into when you hire someone like him because you know he's gonna do something unconventional, you know, something fresh, right? And he took a picture. He took a picture of J.D. Vance. Is way too close. It's way too close to his head. It's so close. Oh man. The picture is so close It looked like when you go to take a picture with your phone and you open it and it's accidentally on selfie mode. And then you get insecure. You're like, ooh, ooh. Oh, is that what people see when they see me? This is the last thing. This close is the last thing people see before I kiss them. That's insane. That's probably why we close our eyes when we kiss. Even our ancestors were like, this is too intimate. This is insane. The picture is so close to his head. It is so close to his face. I shouldn't even say head. His head not in it. It is so locked in on his face. It's not, I can't even call it face. His whole face wasn't in it. It is middle head. He got the whole picture middle head, middle face, center. Locked in, middle head, middle face. And he's I don't know what his plan was for the picture. Because yes, this person was too close, but he also made that face. Because he made a face. It wasn't just his face. He made a face. He did like, okay. There's a sneer that dudes will do if they think that they're bad. You know what I mean? Like there's like you lift one side of your face. It's like you're gonna smirk. It's usually what a villain does in a movie. Like right when they're introduced, they'll be like, huh. Now, he did overdo it. He did overshoot the sneer, so it's very much like, oh. Looked like he stepped on a Lego and was trying to hold it together. You know what I mean? You ever get hurt in front of somebody and you don't want to look hurt, so you just... Okay, I'll give you a good example. All right, one time for 4th of July, I went with some friends to their family's 4th of July. Spent the whole 4th of July with them, right? And they were firing off in the backyard. A bunch of the kids were firing off Roman candles, right? And so then they all... Right? Everybody was having a good time. And then this kid fired one off. And then the last one exploded, but it exploded before it got all the way out of the tube, so some of it did explode like on his hand a little bit, right? And everyone saw it. And then, kid is like 12, 13, right? And then there was this other girl at the party who was like 16. And so she turns, because we all heard the pop, and then she turns, she's like, oh my gosh, are you okay? He's 13. She's 16. She's an older woman. She just saw something horrific happen and asked him if he's okay. And he went... Yeah, I'm fine, It's whatever, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes things pop off, you know what I'm saying? Real question is, are you all right? Because you looking all right, Like, if anything, you look a little parched. You want me to get you some lemonade? I was going inside anyway. Let me get you a lemonade. I'll be right back, right? And he walked off. Little man tried to walk off like Denzel. He tried, still had the Roman candle exploded in his head, but he walked off. Gets inside. They had like a sliding glass door to their backyard, so he gets inside, slides the door back, turns around and goes, Dad! Anyway, J.D. Vance had like a... crazy. That's a crazy face to even think is cool. Because you usually make it when bad stuff is happening. One time, this is vulnerable, I'm sorry, but okay, so one time I went to this fair. It was when I lived in Chicago, and they did like that Taste of Chicago thing. And I went, and there was this one place that had the cheese. I don't remember what it's called, but basically they take a piece of bread and they melt the cheese over the bread, and they use a knife to like cut the last little bit of cheese, and they hand it to you. And this was something I had never had before. I grew up in Louisiana. I grew up around a lot of like Cajun food, a lot of like, like jambalaya, gumbo type stuff, but I had never had this. And just this particular bread with butter, with this cheese on it, was one of the best things I had ever had in my life up until that point. It was so good. It was so good, I went back several times. It was so good that I went back several times. And then I went home and was telling people, I was like, they had the cheese, and he had the knife, and he was like... And then, like, and lay it out over the bread and everything. He never spilled a drop of cheese. I was blown away. If he had spilled it, I would have caught it. This was some of the most delicious cheese I've ever had in my life. I didn't know a person could eat this much cheese. I ate it like soup. This was the most cheese I've ever eaten. I usually have cheese if it's like a little single slice on a burger or something like that. This cheese, I could eat all day, which I did, right? And then the next day, I was full of cheese. I was full of cheese the worst way possible. I was so full of cheese. Okay, so not only did the cheese mess me up, because I had nightmares. Because you know how they say, don't have dairy before bed and everything? I had eaten so much dairy that it was basically before bed, even though it was hours of... So I had cheese and poof. Still remember the dreams, I still remember. It was like two of my bullies from high school and a boss that this was also what is crazy. This is why I haven't touched that cheese since, because I think it made me see the future. Because it was like two of my bullies from high school and a mean boss that I didn't have yet. I wouldn't have this boss for another year in real life. Like, when I saw him, when I was introduced to him, I was like, because he was from my dream. This cheese took me to another dimension that night. So then it was these two bullies. Then this man over here, right? Hadn't met him yet, but they were all standing around me, and they were like, what do you even, like, you're not special. And then I woke up, it had been hours. That was the only thing that happened in the dream. I saw three of them, and they were like, you're not special, and it had been 6 hours. So I don't know if it took them 6 hours to say that in the real world, or if they said it, and then I just didn't register anything else for 6 hours. But when I woke up, I was sweating. I was sweating so much, and I was sweating cheese. I was sweating pure cheese. I smelled like my Chango had a car accident with Brie, and... turned around in the bed, I was sweating pools of cheese. I sat up, felt like I had a rock in me. Stomach felt heavy and everything. I was like, that was too much cheese. It was too much cheese. I knew it was too much cheese because they almost didn't serve me the last one. The last one they didn't want to give me, but a sale is a sale, you know what I mean? And so then, sweating. I was looking in the mirror. I looked terrible. Pouring sweat. Looking in my own eyes in the mirror. And then sat down on the toilet and nothing happened. Nothing happened. And not for lack of trying. I even made the face. I was like, so when I saw J.D. Vance in the Vanity Fair, I was like, that's clearly too much cheese. This man looked full of cheese. The picture is so close to his head. It is crazy. It looked like him, but doesn't look like him. He's got one of the most interesting faces I've ever seen. Because he is not, but somehow almost, but definitely not, but maybe, but if you look real fast and blink twice, kind of handsome. You know what I mean? Like if somebody flashed a picture of his face, you'd be like, I think that was a chin. Like I think whoever you showed me has a chin. And then if you look at him too long, you're like, what are your cheeks doing? All right? What is their function? Are they out or are they in? I can't tell what is happening under that beard. Even his eyes, I'm like, is that eyeliner? Is it eyeliner, or does he just have like a smoky eye naturally? Is that what evil does to a person? You know what I mean? Does he look like... You know the mini boss? You know the mini boss before the middle of the movie? You know the first person that James Bond like kick off a cliff or something like that. He got that face. And the picture is too close. I know they did him dirty on purpose, but still they did me dirty. Like I had to look at it. I didn't know this was possible. This is how talented the photographer is. The photographer made J.D. Vance look like J.D. Vance from South Park. Like the way he looked in the thing is so close that when you fill out the rest of the face, you imagine it the way that they did it in South Park. And even in South Park, they were like, let's go ahead and like over-exaggerate every feature. That is what will make it funny. Ha-ha comedy, right? But then this guy was like, nah, I think I could do it for real. Like, I think I could do that to him. I don't know. If I had a picture of me like that, I think I'd have to start anew. New life, new face. That is crazy. And then they didn't just do the close-ups, you know. Chris didn't just do the close-ups. He did a bunch of other photos. Took another photo of J.D. Vance. This one was full body, all right? But this one was also hilarious because he zoomed out too far. Like this... J.D. Vance is over here. He probably told him to stand against the wall and give some sort of power pose. So then he's over here, got like, I think he's holding his ring or something like that, trying to give like a sort of House of Cards look. Like. Meanwhile, he doesn't know. The camera zoomed out enough that it's not just him at the wall, it's the floor. It's like a part of another room. I don't know what that is. I'm not acting like I know, I wasn't there, but I think he snuck a couch in the picture, which is also crazy work. That is a wild thing to do to somebody. To put a Wayfair looking couch in a picture of J.D. Vance trying to sulk a little bit. It's a very romantic picture. It's crazy right here. And then, whew. He wasn't done. Took a picture of Marco Rubio. And he took a picture of Marco Rubio. He decided to make this one black and white. J.D. Vance's was color. All the colors. He caught the acne, caught everything. And Marco Rubio's, though, was black and white, and he's looking off from the camera a little bit, you know? And even he was probably looking off. He probably told him, like, hey, give me something, you know? Give me something. Give me your version. Give me what you think would be. Try. Little sexy. And then Marco Rubio hit him with the... But he did it so close. He took the picture so close that Marco Rubio just looks slapped. Like... He looked like that moment that somebody gets slapped right before they look at who slapped them. You know what I mean? Like, they just moved your face. And a down slap, too. A down slap is very disrespectful. Normally, when being slapped, as someone who has been slapped, being slapped, depending on the situation, the height of the person, and their feelings about you, the slap is normally a sort of follow-through. You know what I mean? It's sort of a bow this way, from right to left, you know? But if somebody really tried to disrespect you, or they got like 8 inches on you, they gotta aim down anyway, so it becomes a pow, a downward slap. Downward slap is tough to swallow. It is, especially as a man. If you get downward slapped as a man, oof, you gotta reevaluate things. I'm sure there are some people who didn't even believe in gun ownership until they got downward slapped. Getting downward slapped will change your life. You know, wow, right? You don't really catch up. Up is too close to an uppercut, but up would be funny. Somebody jump up, pow. Face goes, oh, look at the stars. But this, you know, Marco Rubio down like this. Look like he's sulking a little bit. Like the picture is so close to his head. It looks like it looks like you are comforting him. Yeah, because it looked like he's in the picture like... I was supposed to be chief of staff. He promised. You know when you get mad and you don't know what to do with this, so you just put it in your shoulder? Then promise. Down. Rough. That's rough work. I mean, then he took another picture of Marco Rubio. This time, it was full body. And honestly, you should have stuck with close-ups, because the full body is genuinely wild, because Marco Rubio, I don't know what he told Marco to do, but he took a full body picture of him very far away, once again, just like Jay Vance, very far away, makes him look small. I don't know why Trump called him Little Marco Rubio. Maybe it's because he genuinely is a short man. Maybe it's because he shrinks up when he's around real men. Like, I don't know why Trump would call him Little Marco Rubio until I saw the picture. And I was like, that is crazy to put him in the picture, have him stand there. He's bent over a little bit. There's a lamp right here, and there's a doorknob on the other side because they let an open door be in the frame. And Marco Rubio fighting that doorknob for height, fighting. Normally, I don't even think about doorknobs like that, but I was like, how close is that doorknob to his head? That doorknob look egregiously... Is that a big door? It was genuinely uncomfortable. I was over here, and, he's leaned over. This dude leaned over at it, and it doesn't really make sense why he's leaned over. Like, it feel like maybe he told him to look longingly at the lamp or something like that. Like, I don't know. No, you already got JD with the couch, maybe Marco with the lamp. But he's standing there looking like a piece of candy fell out of his pocket. Like, no. Now it's dirty. Oof. Even the picture that they took of all of them together, I'm sure that they thought, there's a thing that happens when you're taking pictures, you know what I mean? Where you are going off of what the person telling you to take the picture, they're telling you to do. So you are assuming whatever they're telling you to do is gonna look good, and that's why they're telling you to do it. You know what I mean? So that they see everybody, you see everybody in the picture. He did one where everybody lined up around a desk, and even that one, he was too far away. So you just see like Stephen Miller on the edge. You see like Caroline Levitt standing up. And I'm sure they thought that this was going to be like the next cover of the reboot of West Wing. But it just looks terrible. Like they look terrible in it. As a photo, I can't look away. Even with Stephen Miller. Picture of Stephen Miller is already unnecessary. Yeah, I mean, it's almost impossible to look at Stephen Miller and not think of like Megamind. You know what I mean? Like, but this dude got real close to Stephen Miller. Dangerous, right? This dude got real close to Stephen Miller, and not as close as J.D. Vance and the others, right? You can see his whole head. And I don't know if he made him like tilt his head or if Stephen Miller just did that, but he tilts his head. And he did this one in black and white too. He did this one in black and white. You had a bunch of shadow, harsh shadow across his face, really like accentuating like the age in his features and everything, not really able to see his eyes clearly. And this man made Stephen Miller look exactly like an old picture of Joseph Goebbels. When I've heard Stephen Miller compared to Joseph Goebbels before, like that thing, that like concept is not new. What is insane is that Christopher Anderson heard the comparison and he was like, yeah, I could do it. I could do it. Wow. Even the picture they took of Stephen Miller, like sitting on a couch, right? I think he was on a couch, may have been in a chair. He's over here, arm over, like this and everything. Probably told him, hey, sit like you're powerful. No, sit powerful, sit confident, sit like your wife isn't cheating on you with Elon Musk. I don't know, it's what I've heard. I don't know. He tells him to sit down, he sits down. And then he's got just a little puff of stomach out here. Something that normally a photographer would crop out if they liked you. Even Susie Wiles. They took a picture of Susie Wiles, chief of staff, and that one very close. And she took that picture like she knew how close the camera was. Her eyes are very open, wide open. And maybe he got that close because if you just see her, you don't really make this sort of comparison. But like to me, with a picture that close, Susie Wiles looked like she from another dimension where Martha Stewart never became friends with Snoop Dogg. Like a dimension where Martha Stewart was as racist as Paula Deen, never became friends with Snoop Dogg, and got into politics. Whole thing was crazy. He even photographed one guy. I'll admit, I don't really remember who that dude was, but he just sort of made him look at the ceiling. And I was like, all right, fair enough. Yeah, I guess he's also confused about what he does. And then he took a picture of Caroline Levitt. It's very close. Some would say 2. And it just, wow. It's so close that when I saw it, I was genuinely shocked. And I was like, yeah, that's a statement. That's a statement. I mean, you are the mouthpiece for the government. You're like the mouthpiece for Trump and the government, and the picture that has been taken does make us look at your mouth. Yeah, I mean, usually it's full of lies. They were talking to Christopher Anderson about this photo shoot, and when asked about it, he was like, as a photographer, I take it as my responsibility to photograph what I encounter. I don't know if he's British, but that seems like a very posh way to say, I was just trying to show who you were on the inside. It is funny though, because that Vanity Fair article, they interviewed Susie Wiles, and as chief of staff, she has a lot of inside information, and she talked to this reporter, Christopher Whipple, for Vanity Fair 11 times. She talked to him 11 times. So it's not just like one interview that she could say is being taken out of context or they didn't use the whole thing. She came back 11 times. 11, wow. 11's a lot. At 11, y'all are like close. And yeah, she was just sort of like airing everybody out. It was crazy. And it wasn't the same way people get aired out after people get fired. Sometimes people get fired and then out of anger, they just try to air everybody out that they worked with, any flaw, anything that they saw, this person's fake, whatever, all this stuff, right? This woman told Vanity Fair everything and then clocked back in. That is a pimp move if I ever saw one. That's probably one of the most powerful moves I've seen in Trump's administration. I'm gonna tell everybody, and I dare you to fire me. I dare you to fire me. I'm the only one people like, apparently. That is crazy. You know, she said that Trump had the personality of an alcoholic. It's like, I mean, okay. Like, that's not anything that we didn't know. She didn't say he drank. She said he had the personality of an alcoholic. And if you've ever heard Trump tell a story, I've been to more than 1,000 barbecues where the same type of story was told by the same uncle who had to digress, who... if you told me Trump had been drunk this entire time, I would believe it. I'd be like, that all checks out now. This actually makes so much more sense if you were drunk. Like, even a rally, you'll hear him speak at a rally, and you're like, if he was drunk, it would make sense that he speaks in commas. He can never just go through one sentence. There's always a detour, you know? Many are asking me, more people than have ever asked anyone ever. You know, one time I was at a party and there were a lot of people there too. I'm being asked by almost as many people as there were at that party, but also, do you know Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson dated? That's kind of wild. Anyway, I was being asked by someone. I have the best polling numbers in the history of numbers. And when you check the numbers, they're going to seem fake because the radical left is... Nancy Pelosi also makes a lot of money from... She also makes a lot of money from the stock market, and I don't even know if that should be allowed. She's crooked. Her and her husband. You know who else has a husband? My wife. My wife has a husband. It's me. I'm my wife's husband. And I'm the president of the United States, and I came here to tell you wanted to talk about something? The closest thing I can describe, like, Susie Wiles' Vanity Fair thing to is, when I was in college, I would go to this fast food restaurant that was near the campus. I won't say which one, but I would go there, and I would go there just to hang out with one of the cashiers because she was amazing. She always was ready to tell you everybody's business while you ordered. We became fast friends because I would just walk in and be like, hey, how's it going? And she would tell me how it was going for everybody in there. She would air everybody out. There was one time I walked in, I'm like, hey, how's it going? I'll just get like 5 nuggets. And she was like, oh, yeah, no, it's going all right. We a little short-staffed because, you know, Willie got arrested last night. He got arrested leaving work. They arrested him in the parking lot right there. It's right that spot, like where the Subaru is. They arrested him right there, you know. And they were like, get on the ground and everything. They tried to handcuff him, and, you know, I don't know. I don't like to take joy in people's downfalls, but Willie and I dated, and he did me wrong. You know what I mean? Like, so it's a beautiful thing to watch your ex get arrested. I would recommend it for everybody. It's just something special about watch your ex get arrested and being all, get off me, you know what I mean? And you know, Willie little, so he tried to put up a fight, but it's not much of a fight. He just sort of like bouncing around in the cop's arm, and get off me. And then they tried to cuff him, and it was tough because they you know, they had to click, 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 click. They had to get that last one, click, 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 because you know, he got the wrist of a bird. Like he's just like, it's like trying to arrest Tweety Bird. You gotta click it all the way. And then one of them slipped off and they thought that was him. He was like, no, you gotta click it all the way. Cause he'd been arrested before, yeah. So then they put him in the car and drove off. So, you know, he's not here on fries, but I'm having a great day. I'm doing wonderful, yes. There was one time I went in there, I was like, hey, how's your day going? And she was like, you know, Trisha getting on my nerves. Now, admittedly, I only knew her, so I didn't know what Trisha was supposed to mean. She's like, Trisha getting on my nerves, you know what I mean? Like, she over here acting like she can't handle the drive-thru because she pregnant. I'm not even kidding, because she pregnant. We all pregnant, Trisha. People gonna act like they can't do something because they pregnant knowing you pregnant. I'm pregnant too, Trish. I mean, you know, it's just handing people stuff. All you gotta do, take a credit card and go ahead and hand it back. That's all we asking you to do, you know? But she over here, ooh, my back, ooh, my stomach. It's in your stomach, stupid. Your stomach gonna hurt, okay? You know what I mean? Because she want to act like she was a good employee before. She been bad, but now she just pregnant. You know what I mean? So then she... Anyway, what did you want? I was like, I just wanna know more. There was one time I walked in, I don't know what beef they had before I walked up, but she was walking to the counter. And she was walking to the counter and was leading to the counter, saw me, and she was like, as she's turned it, sees me, had one more thing left that she wanted to say. She leaned towards the counter, starts getting ready to type my thing. But then she's like, stay pregnant, Trisha. I've never heard stay pregnant in my life. But I don't know if I'll ever forget it. It just would air everybody out. So when I was reading this Vanity Fair article and I was reading what Susie was saying, I was like, I've been here before. You know? Basically coming off like she thinks that J.D. Vance doesn't believe in much, how against Trump he was, and then all the way to becoming his vice president and everything. She even said some of the things that we knew but hadn't been said. You know, like they brought up Letitia James. They talked about Venezuela, and she said what we've all sort of been knowing. You know, Letitia James. Oh, that's just sort of a retribution campaign. You know, really got nothing to do with any illegal activity. Oh, Venezuela. You know, that's really just for regime change and for oil. And like I guess she's in a place where she can be honest about stuff sometimes. She's not the one that has to go speak in front of the nation. That's Caroline Levitt. It's Caroline Levitt that has to go out there now in light of us knowing everything we know from the Vanity Fair article and then ask, like, hey, so we're blowing up boats and we're claiming it's because of narco-terrorism when really it seems like we're just trying to bomb Maduro into submission so we can get some sort of regime change and also get their oil. Is this really just for oil? Is it really just attack on another country's sovereignty? And Caroline Levitt got to stand there and be like, the president has been clear about this. He cares about the lives of American citizens. I don't know if y'all saw, but 23andMe is going bankrupt, and I imagine, Providence has some stake in what happens with all that data, because it was y'all. It was y'all that were looking it up and like, no, I just wonder, you know what I mean? Like sometimes, I don't know, there's just some days where I feel like a little Scandinavian. No, it's just fun to find out. It's like, just how German am I? And you get those percentage breakdowns and stuff. It's like, all right, do you? I don't know. I wonder. I truly wonder. I knew they had some black people in the commercials, but I do wonder how many of us it was. Because every time I saw an ad for like a 23andMe, I was like, I have a general idea. Nah, I don't need to be sad today. I would rather not. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? And send me a back. Send me a PDF that says, slavery. They got you. No, I was good. And one of the reasons that was good is that early on, like I'm finally vindicated where I can say this and not seem crazy, because even at best, if my thing is like wrong, it still wasn't the best business plan, so they're going to, so I don't look as, because my friends looked at me like I was out of my mind. I had so many friends, all white. I had so many friends doing 23andMe, and I was like, don't do it! And because I was a truther. I was like, look at what the company is doing and look at what they're researching. Yeah, I mean, there are so many of these like heritage companies that are also putting money into pharmaceutical industry. And it's just to figure out how much of something people get when they're a certain lineage, invest in those drugs, expecting that thing to finally pop up one day. And people were like, that's so paranoid. And I was like, yeah, paranoid is... Paranoid is like why I won't do the thing. Like, okay, how do I put this? Paranoid to me is if you're right and you're paranoid, you're like spot on. If you're paranoid and you happen to be wrong, you do start to be crazy. Like, that is what a crazy person, like that's, now I'm crazy. If I was wrong and they were just a blossoming company and they were only helping the world, I'd be that one dude on the corner, don't take it. I mean, that would be me. But look, all I'm saying is I told so many people, I was like, hey, you don't need to know. You made it through. Because
Because then I had some friends where I was like, you don't even need to know because I can tell you. How about that? I'll do you that favor. You don't need 23andMe. I'll do it for you. I have a friend who, okay, these two friends, they're the sweetest, but they make marriage such a curiosity to me because I don't get, okay, she had kind of given him this ultimatum, right? Like, really, you know, go ahead and, like, we're either doing it or we're not, you know, you're either in this or you're out, right? And so then he went ahead and proposed and they got married. They're still married. And I don't know, like, as a bystander, his friend, closer to him than her, I don't know why she would do that to herself, right? Because I went out to dinner with them one time, third wheeling it. It's okay because they're married. It's not awkward. I'm just chilling with my buddies, right? My buddy and his wife, who I'm now friends with as well. And the server comes over and we're ordering. And then the server asked if there were any food allergies. I said no. And he turns to her and goes, "Do I?" "Do I have any food allergies?" And she answered. She was like, "Yeah, shellfish." He was about to order the lobster bucket. And I was like, how is it worth keeping him alive like this? You literally forced an ultimatum to make it your job to keep him alive. Your prerogative, do what you want, but wow. You ever been driving and then you see like an animal on the side of the road and you're like, oh, we have to do something, someone might hit that animal, and so then you stop the car and you catch it and you put it in the back seat and you take it to like a local shelter or something, and they're like, hey, so sorry, we're really overrun. So then you take it home and it sort of becomes your dog over time, and you love it and you take care of it and you keep it alive. And that is exactly what she did with my friend. With my friend, she saw this dude who, if left to his own devices, would eat all the shellfish, not fully hitch himself, fully just get a puffed out head. And she was like, no, I need to not only stop that from happening, I need to make him my entire responsibility. And so when she was like, yeah, shellfish, and he was like, oh, right. I was sitting there like flabbergasted, right? And then we were eating, and as we're eating, she lightly starts choking, right? Like starts choking on her meal, and she's like doing the coughs and trying to get some water. Like just you can hear her trying to force it out, and we both recognize that she's choking, and we both we don't fully stand up because we're in a booth, but we start to like push up a little bit, like as if we're gonna have to get up, and I'm about to come around, and then he's like, spit it out. Sir, what do you think her plan is? Do you think she's like contemplating spitting out, but oh, it's just so good? I bring up this entire thing because he did a 23andMe. And I was like, bro, I can tell you right now, all right? You're half jackass. You're a quarter dumbass. And you're another quarter ass. He has a very big butt. He is thick. No. No, it's insane. Because then 23andMe not only was getting everyone's like data that had their DNA, also home addresses, also payment methods. So there's so many different things that are bad about a breach to 23andMe versus like a breach of Target or a breach of some other company that has a whole lot of credit card transactions, right? There's like actual things about you as a person in there. And I know as Americans, we don't care about our data. We don't. Our data, man, look, we gotta start respecting ourselves. For real, we are out here loose with our data, all right? You know what I mean? I'm not trying to shame, myself included. We are slutty with our data. Letting anybody get it. Anybody can get it. Anybody that feels like typing can get some of it. Not careful anything. We could have VPNs. We could have so much stuff. Nah. Let's be a little loose. There was already a data breach of 23andMe, and that freaked investors out. It freaked people out. It's like, what do people want with like my DNA results, you know? And then that stuff was apparently sold on the dark web in bits. And it's like, that's terrifying, because I don't know what the dark web is. Everybody keep talking about the dark web, but whenever I go to Safari, it's just regular web. Everybody talking about the dark web. I don't know. I'm not even saying I want on. I just don't know how to get on, which scares me because I feel like I might accidentally get on one day. Do you know what I'm talking about? You know how you could go somewhere? Like, to me, the dark web feels a lot like gang territory. When I was growing up, if you go on a long enough walk, you end up somewhere you're not supposed to be. But you're like, these the same feet that take me home took me here, so I wasn't trying to do anything, but that doesn't matter. Once you're in the territory, it's like, why are you wearing that color? So then imagine, I'm just on the regular internet. I go to Safari, Firefox, any of it, and I type in the website. I get it one letter wrong. All of a sudden my screen black and the letter's green. I'm sitting here trying to get out the matrix as fast as I can. And police quick with it now. They kick open the door like, why you on the dark web? It's like, no, it was my thumb. I didn't want this at all. So yeah, apparently a bunch of our data, a bunch of our like DNA results are already on the dark web, which is insane. And then you have 23andMe, to their credit. This is why business is scary in the US, right? We get mad at companies for creating a product. And they used to create a product. Our parents and our grandparents know about this. They used to create a product and they put together the pieces. They had the best pieces to make the best product. And so if it ever broke down and you understood how the product was made, you could buy one of those pieces and fix that product, right? It's why our grandparents had like TVs from the 60s. Because you could just go in there, you could open it up and be like, okay. And now purposefully, whether it's for IP, there are places that will sue you. There are like certain phone companies that will straight up sue you if you fix people's phones for a business. Then some of those same companies will make it so everything is one use. So if it breaks, you have to buy another one, because that's how they keep the revenue coming in, right? They don't want you to be self-sufficient and actually know how to fix this thing, because then you might do it. They'd make less money. All right, so they make a worse and worse product and they charge more and more for it. And if everybody does it, it becomes the new norm. And so now you don't expect anything to last for 4 or 5 years. And that used to be short term. You used to get things that last you for 10 years. My boy's granddaddy had a laptop. It might be the first laptop. It's honestly so old we can't even tell what the brand icon is, because that wiped away a long time ago. this computer looks like it was made in the movie Dune, like it's futuristic and old at the same time. And you turn it on, and the on button is hard. It's extra hard. You gotta press it with some girth. You gotta really lean on that on button if you want to turn it on. If you just press it, the computer's like, you don't want it bad enough. You gotta put your thumb almost in that button, and then you hear not even a click, you hear a, like it's, every key is clickety clacking and hard as hell. And then when you turn it on, it does cough. Turn it on, it makes all those like fake internet sounds. You can hear the fan inside of it fighting for its life. The fan inside, it's because now all the blades of the fans and everything have like an almost silent motion to them. Sometimes you can just hear them if they're really working overtime. I had like this Lenovo laptop in college. It was one of the last laptops where it looked like if you look close enough, you could see at least one of the fan blades moving, right? The fan in this laptop, first of all, I think it's missing a tooth. Cause it's trying, it's coughing and it's trying, and you can hear it. His computer moans. I forgot to mention that. And then if you want to turn on Wi-Fi, there's nothing clickable. You want Wi-Fi? You got to hit that switch. You gotta slide a switch at the front of the computer. And then you get a little stick with the little edges on the side. Beep, 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 you know. This laptop got everything but an antenna. And his granddad knew computers, or at least he knew computers well enough back when computers first came out, like first computer, just little 0, little 1. He had it on lock. And so he fixed his laptop over and over and over again for years, to the point where even now it'll turn on. You gotta press extra hard, you really gotta lean your body over it, but it'll turn on. And that day is gone. We're not in that anymore. We're in the world of tech companies putting out their products and soldering it to make sure that if you open it, you destroy it, right? And 23andMe, to their credit, they came up with a good product. They came up with a very good product. The problem was you only needed it once. And so that was pretty much their undoing. Some people are going to say it was marketing. Some people are going to say it was general business plan. No, the thing that 23andMe did that was wrong in today's America was making a good product. People only needed it once and then they could forget about it. And they tried the subscription thing. They tried it. And people, even my white friends were like, no, I got it. I mean, you said 45% Scandinavian. I'm going to take your word for it. I don't need to keep spitting in cups and sending them to you. That was the other thing I didn't trust. You know what I mean? Like, you just spit in a cup and mail it. Nah. Admittedly, that was a black thing for me. I was like, I'm not just gonna put my DNA out there for someone to have in case. Imagine now your mailman a murderer. He see that 23andMe package, he's like, this'll do nicely. Now the mailman kills somebody on his normal schedule. He open up your 23andMe and then dump out your little sample. See, they did it, right? And you can tell they did because they kissed him on the forehead right after. No. And so they made a very good product. Well, some would say an incredible product. There's connection. There's connection in knowing where you come from, especially if you're deeply in search for it. Finding those answers can be really special. Not special enough for me to spit in the cup and then mail it, because it's like, nah, you're not gonna get me, right? But one day, in some way, maybe, it'd be beautiful to figure out exactly where you come from, trace your entire lineage and everything like that. But a good portion of our life is genetics, but another portion is of where you come from are the people around you. The people that raise you are where you come from. Your environment is where you come from. Your culture, your community are where you come from. You know, if you have a good handle on those things, you know yourself. All the rest of the stuff is just gravy, you know? Because they tried to do these like home diagnostics, and that was a very bad idea. They were incredibly inaccurate, so people were either thinking they were in the clear or worrying for no reason, because you would do the 23andMe, and if you did the like pro premium package with the home diagnostic stuff, they'd send your sample back. They'd give you a PDF being like, yeah, you got diabetes. And then you would be like, are you sure? And they would say, no, I truly have no idea. That's the other reason I didn't do it. Not only am I like, no, I'm not gonna get my DNA out. What if you're a murderer? I also don't want to worry for no reason. Now, imagine somebody sending you something in the mail that's like, it's bad. It's bad. It's very bad. I'm not sure. Don't take my word for it, but it is pretty bad. I already have people in my life to do that. Truly, I already have people in my life giving me horrific medical advice. Just some of the worst stuff you've ever heard in your entire life. I have a friend who doesn't eat vegetables. Doesn't eat vegetables because he doesn't want to eat anything too phallic. I was like, well, explain your logic to me. And he was like, no, just dog, like, why, you want me to eat a cucumber? Try to bite a cucumber right now. It's all in your face, all hard and stuff. Not me. Not me. A carrot? No. I was like, you could chop it up. That's what they do. Do you think in a salad that they just lay the whole thing down? What are you talking about? Chop it up and eat your vegetable. He's like, no. You want me to hold, first of all, you want me to hold it and chop, you want me to... No, that might give me nightmares, dog. I'm like, all right, yeah, be deficient in everything then. Just walk around needing a nap twice a day. That's on you. Horrific medical advice. The type of medical advice that makes you go, oh, okay. I didn't think there'd be anything worse than WebMD, but I found you. So they were doing these home diagnostic tests and everything, and they were sending people stuff back being like, yeah, you got a bunch of like heart stuff in your family. And then they would act accordingly. They go to their doctor, they run a bunch of tests, and if they were lucky, that was like incorrect, you know? Or sometimes they would miss whole things, you know? They'd be like, nah, you good. In fact, your blood pressure low, you might want to get something salty right now. Nah, hit that pork chop right quick. You have the pork chop, all of a sudden you dizzy. Why is my whole left side hurt? And so now that they're going bankrupt, there are people that are looking to to buy it. And some of those people are like potentially insurers, which is terrifying. Is everything that I told people not to do when they were on the up and up. I'm like, hey, so now an insurance company is gonna buy your DNA and then not let you do any claims, because they're like, no, we know you sick, dog. We saw the 23andMe. You know, because if you do a 23andMe of a corporation, they are 100% devil. Also somehow 100% efficient. No, it sucks. I look at where I come from, and like I said, it's from the people who raised me, people who put me together, or what I'm made up of. Like, there are people in my life that I was very fortunate to meet young, who were much older, so they had a lot of wisdom to pass down. I remember there was this woman who would just drop gems on me every now and again, out of nowhere, right? One time she said to me, she was like, be very careful when you're picking a partner. Be very careful who you have a child with, because you're not making a baby, you're making a soul. And that's forever. She also once told me, don't ever trust somebody named after fruit. And I was like, what? And she was like, seriously, if somebody comes in your life named Clementine, she a hoe, all right? Don't trust any Clementines, okay? Oh. Out of nowhere one time she told me, we were just sitting, and she was saying this about people, but she was like, when you finally see yourself the way that the people that love you see you, what a wonderful world that'll be. That's all the world's missing, is people that see themselves the way that the people that love them see them. Truly, like, there's, in everything that people do and everything we search for, we try to find it in all these other places, but there's a level of acceptance that other people have for us, and sometimes we reject it or we think we don't deserve it. But if we could see ourselves, you wish it. You wish it on people when they're battling addiction and depression. You wish, it's like, oh, I just want you to see yourself the way I see you. If you saw yourself the way that I see you, you wouldn't feel this way about yourself. You know? She also once told me never get in an argument with a woman and then eat the pie she makes after that argument. That's a pie full of glass. One time she told me, I don't even know where it came from, but she said that sometimes when people are searching for love, that all they really need is to find someone who reminds them of their best day. Find someone who feels like their best day. You're gonna argue, you're gonna not be able to stay in each other sometimes, but you can find somebody that feels like your best day. You won't always be happy, but you'll be like really in love. She was like, you find someone who feels like the best day that you've ever had. Because the best days only come once in a while. Every day can't be the best day, by definition. But if you find somebody that feels like your best day, you found a truly good life. She also told me that one time she got in an argument with her ex-husband and she decided to let it go in that moment, you know, and bake him a pie. And she was like, wasn't my best day. I understand why people would want to do 23andMe, and I understand, at least on the surface, why they went bankrupt. They made the mistake of making a really good product and giving it to everybody, and everybody only needed it once. And that is tough. That's tough to watch people use their thing, watch that valuation go up. At one point, it was worth $6 billion. Billion. $6 billion. That's crazy. And then, you know, they started dropping off left and right. You know, people were like, oh, I'm not going to renew their subscription, or I sent it to my friend, but they don't want to take it. And the other reason people didn't want to take it was the other thing they did that was really good, but was their undoing, was they were helping to catch a lot of murderers. There were a lot of murderers who didn't even do 23andMe. They were like, I don't care how Scandinavian I am. And they're like, well, your cousin does. Hands behind your back. And you over here. That's tough. That's tough. You know what I mean? Because look, listen. I'm not rooting for criminals, okay? But how would you feel if you did all that planning? Do you know what I mean? You do all that planning, you rob a bank, you make it out scot-free. They're gonna make a movie about this one day and not know how to end it. You made it off scot-free, didn't kill anybody, very low charges if they catch you, just brandishing a weapon, get on the ground, you know, you took all the money and stuff like that, haven't even spent it yet. And then one day, it's very quiet. It's so quiet that you're like, damn, it's quiet in here. And maybe you live in an apartment building. You're like, usually I hear somebody arguing with their spouse, hear some kids maybe. I mean, you know, hear some loud music, some teenagers around here. And you don't hear anything. And then out of nowhere, they bust open your door. They've cleared out all the neighbors, like, get on the ground! And you're like, what? How? How is this possible? You don't even have the money on. You planned it so well, the money's buried in another state. How? Oh, well, when you were robbing the bank, you cut your finger and it bled a little. And a brother you don't know you have spit in a cup in Providence, Rhode Island, and honestly, we wouldn't have found you if it wasn't for that. Like we were like, all the markers aren't matching, and we can't seem to connect the dots. And then your cousin spit in that cup. Turns out you're pretty Scandinavian. You are very Scandinavian. Picking you up off the floor. Oh, thanks. Had no idea. Carting you off. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe 23andMe's data, your data, will end up in good hands. Yeah, if you feel that way, you should delete it off the website right now. We are so loose with our data.